As much as I would very much love to have a large plot of land, it's not the fact that you don't have land that you are poor. It's what you do with every opportunity that has ever and will still come your way. One of the most valuable things that we all have at our disposal is time. We can complain about our lack of employment or about our current employer, or we can use the time we have to create our own employment. We can blame and resent fellow citizens who are living better lives than us, or we can use the time that we have to create the same lives for ourselves. Welcome to Citizen Concerned, where we remind you to beware of the comrades. I'm Katlego, and if our content is to your liking, please subscribe, like, and share the video with other citizens. There are certain things that we as people will always suffer from if we never address them. I'm here to tell you, as my fellow citizens, that we must start being extremely involved in the things that affect us. By involved, I don't mean showing up to vote every 5 years or just watching shorts on YouTube or commenting on a few posts on Twitter. We as human beings all want the nicest things, don't we? We want a house, we want land, we want cars, we want farms. We want our communities to improve and be better. We want our families to prosper. But the question is, what are we doing to bring about that change and prosperity? Honestly, what are we doing to make sure that all these things happen consistently and we as individuals and as a community grow?
While coming of age in Harlem, Sol discovered the magic of education, thanks to a family friend named Eddie Mapp.
In Harlem, there was a kid named Eddie that members of the family had run into before I ever arrived from North Carolina. He came from a highly educated family, and they immediately saw the implications if they could get him to mentor me.
Eddie brought Tom here to the Harlem Public Library, taught him how to find books that interested him, taught him how to check them out.
And I saw all these books, and I had no idea why we were there when I don't have any money to buy one book. And so what am I going to do with all these, hundreds of books up on the shelf?
Crossing the threshold to this new world was the first step on a path young Tommy might not otherwise have taken.
And he very patiently walked me through the whole thing. And again, I was very reluctant to take out a library card because I didn't know what all this is about. But he talked me into it. Then I borrowed a couple of books. And really, had I not encountered him, the entire rest of the story could not have been the way it was. I mean, at some point, I would have learned what a public library was. But by that point, it would be too late. When you start getting in the habit of reading when you're 8 years old, that's a different ballgame than if you have to wait till you're a teenager and it's too late now.
Have you noticed how people want to blame democracy and capitalism for the fact that they are poor? Have you noticed how people blame rich people for the fact that they are poor? They say rich people should pay more taxes, the government should nationalize this and that, but they fail to acknowledge the problem.
His family had no electricity, no central heating, and no hot running water. Sol's father died before Tom was born. And his mother, a maid, died in childbirth just a few years later.
He was adopted by his great aunt and raised by her and her 2 daughters. So he was raised by 3 women.
My whole career would not have been possible without the particular family in which I was raised, which was not composed of educated people. I mean, nobody in that family had ever graduated from high school, and most did not graduate from grade school. But they were interested in education, and they were interested in me. But they were interested in education, and they were interested in me.
We always have individuals who choose to blame someone who has focused on bettering themselves. Someone who would not sleep learning to program. Someone went to volunteer working for a mechanic for months in order to become a better mechanic or a mechanic themselves. Someone chose to learn how to edit videos. There are many people who learn to be digital marketers, masters at search engine optimization, and social media managers. They upgraded their knowledge. These are all things that people can learn to do without a matric, much less a degree. We see it all the time on the Life Reset with Bonnie YouTube channel. It is a choice to wake up and go hang out at the corner with the boys. It is a choice to spend hours watching fruitless vlogs of your favorite influencers. It is a choice to spend your small salary making sure that every weekend you go out to a restaurant or a club and get drunk when you know you are earning too little. All the time you spend sitting at the corner with the boys, watching a vlog of someone's life or getting drunk, you could have learned how to weld, how to program, how to market your side hustle better, how to be a bricklayer, almost anything. These are the things that are making some people millionaires. Look at this gentleman's story.
I make over 10,000 selling at the roads. My name is Harry, and I'm gonna tell you why I quit my job to sell at the robots and what I do to make thousands of rands every day. After 7:30, I have 1 minute 20 seconds for the robots to close. In that period, I can serve up to 5 or 7 customers. I worked at an indoor golf area, and I just didn't enjoy my job. That's when I decided that I need to chase the dream that I had. I had this vision of me having a coffee stand on the side of the road. I decided where now there's hundreds and hundreds of people that are passing there every day. With no form of visibility, it becomes difficult because now you've got taxi drivers that are driving on the yellow line. It becomes dangerous, and you've got motorists that are always in a hurry. You don't know why they're angry first thing in the morning.
All the money you spend drinking every weekend when you cannot afford to, going to restaurants when you cannot afford to, shopping for new clothes when you cannot afford to, you could have spent it on a course, on buying software to learn animation, or on your first batch of stock, or buying data to learn how to do something.
And I think there's also something to be said about the importance of skills. I think probably around 15, because I started a venture at 14. And then I think at 15, it's almost as if I woke up one day and said, oh my God, I need to acquire skills and then parlay those skills into something that would then make more money.
What did you start at 14?
So I started a tutoring company at 14. That was like my first ever venture that I ever did. And it was a bet with a friend of mine where he bet me and said, I bet you wouldn't make £500 before you turn 18, right? Like very stupid, absolute stupid bet. The reason why was because we thought £500 was a lot of money then, right? Yeah. And I basically went online, I figured out, and I searched how to make money online. This was it 14 years ago? And something that I did see was this whole idea of like work with what you know. And so I then realized, oh, I'm actually pretty good at maths. So then my next thing was to tutor people maths. And what then happened was people who wanted help in physics and chemistry and all of that stuff started to come to me. And I basically was like, okay, I'm not that good at that, but I can find other people who are that good at it. And then I then connected with other students, which was a very easy play. It was like, go to the teachers, ask them and say, hey, who got the best grade in the last test you did? You say, James. All right, James, you're gonna make some money. So that was the first thing. And my whole model was charge people £15 an hour. I'm the middleman connecting people. I take £5 and the people keep £10.
So you made well over your £500.
Yeah.
Did it in a year, I should think, at least.
Oh, like way less.
Timothy Armu, the man that sold his business for tens of millions before the age of 28. From humble beginnings living in a council estate, he took the world by storm, and he's now here to help others do the same.
Many people complain about not having a degree, but the fact of the matter is you can definitely learn certain things and earn great salaries from pursuing self-taught or internet-taught skills. If you are willing to spend your time loafing around and sitting doing nothing, then don't blame colonization or apartheid or the current government for your failures. We definitely must hold the government accountable, but we do not rely on them. Most South Africans were not born in privilege, but where we were born does not determine where we end up. As families, we need to decide that we are going to improve our lives and take the necessary steps to that improvement. Take a look at this family.
I'm Rivonia from a small town called Sasolburg in the Free State. I'm a sister, I'm a friend, and I'm a business owner, and most importantly, I'm an environmentalist.
I am Kekeleta Tulane, born and bred in Sasolburg, a small town in the Free State.
Growing up, we've always seen people litter, and it happened as if it was nothing. It was second nature. My sister is very, very OCD about waste.
I bumped into an interesting article where rubbish collects onto homes and rivers, killing people and polluting the environment. So they needed a solution to housing and also rubbish. I was fortunate enough to be raised in that kind of environment where it's very diverse, and my father does not believe in this is for males, this is for females, it's just this is for human beings. So I grew up with that mentality as well. I had an idea in my mind and it made sense in my mind, and I was like, okay, I need to focus on this. And when I first spoke to my father and my sister about it, they were like, no. And so I had to start then with a business plan, start formalizing things, start doing my research and start putting something on paper.
In 2013, our father then registered a business for us, construction as well, which is the primary business that we still have. And through that construction business, we learned that we're spending quite a bit on bricks. And in 2016, we started manufacturing bricks in our mother's yard.
As families, we need to understand that children are like laptops or phones. They can't function well if they're not well maintained and cared for well. You need to clean the laptop and not allow dust and water to enter it. That's a nonsensical influence around us. You need to keep it inside a laptop bag to make sure it's protected from falling. Creating a shelter from things and people that can break your child's potential, all while you're meeting their basic needs of bathing, clothing, as well as toiletries right there. But on the other hand, you also need to make sure you charge it. That's food, right? Whenever it goes hungry, you run around looking for a way to charge it. But that's not enough. Laptops and cell phones also need software maintenance. This is the same issue with human beings. They need their reasoning, common sense, and their skills updated. The more that your phone or laptop do not get software updates, the more they are forced to stay behind. Instead of being up to date, your cell phone will fail to do the most basic things. And that is the same as a human being. A child, more importantly, is just the same. Without software updates, a child will become forced to be left behind. So please, let's upgrade their reading, writing, and mathematics. Let's upgrade their computer and sports skills. A cell phone that uses the WhatsApp version 1 will not be able to do video calling. Do you guys even remember what the first version of WhatsApp was able to do? Probably not. But if we made you use it now, you will notice that it is primitive. If you want to install the latest version of WhatsApp, you also have to make sure you update the operating system of your phone. The newer versions of WhatsApp simply do not work on old operating systems on your phone. If you try to force install softwares, the phone will simply begin to behave funny. That is the same thing with human beings and, more importantly, children. Children do not only need physical or cosmetic maintenance, that is getting a house to stay in, clothes, food, etc. There is software maintenance that children need as well. They need spiritual software, they need emotional software, educational software, professional software, skills software, morality software, mental software. They need software in relation to how to communicate, financial literacy software, all the way to marriage and parenting software. Everything human beings are is based on hand-me-down information. There is nothing that we have as humankind that just popped up. Everything started as a half-baked idea hundreds to thousands of years ago. For us to have a wheel and tire with these fancy rims that we like today, we first came up with the idea to make a wooden wheel thousands of years ago. There is software and skills that each of us learn as individuals. That which we learn, we pass it on to others. As a father and a mother or guardian, your job is to pass on the right knowledge to your children. These are the things that you learn spiritually, professionally, financially, emotionally, mentally, and so forth. What makes you think that you can sleep around and not be there to raise your own child? Seriously, what makes you think that it's okay to make a woman pregnant and simply continue to live your life as if nothing happened? What kind of a father are you? Human beings are not dogs. We have responsibilities. If you go to the bathroom, you flush the toilet. Farmers plant seeds and tend to them. They don't plant and walk away. You make a child, you must raise it. What makes you think you can make babies and not be responsible for them? You go to parties every weekend, drinking alcohol, sleeping with people you meet there, paying thousands for a flat and paying thousands for a car every month, but you say, I'm not ready to settle down. Who do you think is planting software in your child's mind? What software is he or she getting? Without you serving as the guardian and protector to your child's mind is exposed to all manner of rubbish, exposed to viruses that make the child unable to function optimally in society. On a computer, we call them viruses, and there are different kinds of viruses, different kinds of malware. Take time to deal with the viruses in you so that you do not pass them on to your children and loved ones. Listen to this.
Seeing from the things that were done around the neighborhood, our environment, things that were happening, I took those things into my mind and decided, you know what, that's how people are treated. So yes, I once abused women, females in my relationships, both verbally, physically. I got into a lot of fights. I used to love fighting. Now I can say the Father Nation is liberating me day by day. You know, it's not something that you can heal from in a second. See, there's this something called, you know, every story needs a listener. So if every story needs a listener, yes, we all do have stories to tell, but what you need in your story is someone who's gonna listen to you at the end of the day, advise you in a positive manner.
There are so many different kinds of viruses or malware that affect human beings. If you are not there to protect your child, they may start to have these symptoms. Poor discipline, lack of manners, irresponsible, abusive.
Why do men abuse? No boy is born a rapist or abuser or misogynist.
Men who abuse do so because something has gone wrong in their journey from boyhood to manhood and in their understanding of masculinity.
Wounded men become men who wound.
Commit to dealing with whatever woundedness you may have and become a man who is emotionally whole and a safe space for all.
Your children may not even understand what the value of a family is. They may never get to know what the role of a father or a man is. How does a father show love to his children? What type of man should they look for as females? If there is no one to make sure that your child did their homework, what makes you think that that child will understand the value of hard work? Your child needs to be disciplined to make sure they don't take things that are not theirs. Fellow citizens, we need to play our roles in our families. Not all children will be able to make something of themselves without role models within their families. Not all children will manage without the guidance of proper guardians from the mature and responsible family members they need. Let's learn to be more disciplined, making sure we do not neglect our children and our responsibilities. Let's learn to use the time and opportunities that come our way to improve our lives and in turn give our children a chance at a better life. Let's learn to be extremely involved in the things that affect us. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm Katlego, this is Citizen Concerned, and until next time, beware of the comrades.